Welcome to Look Around Florida. Sean will be with you in a minute.
Oh, there we go. How's everybody doing tonight in Florida or wherever you hail from? We got two people watching. That's good. We'll give them a couple minutes. Let people jump in, and once you jump in, let me know where you're from. There's Camp 1209. Hey, Talisa. All right, let me get this out of the way. That way, our division commander, army commander, national commander don't call the chain of command down to me. It's something that's said on this show. Remember, these are our views and opinions. Tonight's show, I got Leon Arthur in the background. He's in timeout right now. Hey, Lewis, watching on YouTube. Cool. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Linda and Roy. So we're going to be going live here. Actually, we are live. Woohoo! It's been a long, warm day. Yeah, goofing off on Facebook today, came across an old Robin Williams talk about how hot it is out there from Good Morning Vietnam. That's how hot it was. Hey, Jeffro. Hey, Victor. Glad you guys can make it. Hey, Beth. All right. This happened about 4 days ago. He's not in the chat, but Talisa, poke Jimbo, tell him to get on. So something cool. Two people that do send stuff in for the show. Out of Fort Pierce area. Hey, Bobby. I heard that one today, Bobby. I thought it was funny too. So I want to say congratulations to Jim Odell and Kim Colors. They got some national awards. They got some national awards. They were presented to them 4 days ago by our Southeast Division Lieutenant Commander Roy Hudson. He's in the chat. I want to say congratulations to those two gentlemen on their hard work. There's a lot of people that do a lot of hard, good work here in the Florida Division. So, with that being said, speak of one of those hard-working people that do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So, let's bring up Leon Arthur. Hey, Leon, we're live. How you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm doing good. How's all my compatriots doing this evening? Glad y'all in there, and maybe we can end up having a good chat this evening about something.
Cool. What's your camp up to lately, Leon?
Well, we're still trying to grow some, get new members all the time. We swore in a new member at our last meeting a couple weeks ago, and we've got another member to swear in this next coming meeting in about 2 weeks. Plus, maybe 3 or 4 more members that I'm working on to get them recruited. So we're growing in numbers. We're pushing 32, 35 members. So we're doing pretty good. We have a good turnout for our camp meetings. I would say that we probably run with the members we got. We probably run at least 50, 60% turnout at our meetings most of the time. Sometimes it's down a little bit less than that, but most of the time it works out good. We go through a lot of history at our meetings and stuff at the American Legion, and we enjoy it. We enjoy our members and the input that they put in there, and we try to keep our members informed of what's going on around in the division, what we're doing, what we can't do, and so forth like that. So it's been a challenge, but a good challenge, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's work that is very pleasing. to see new members come in, especially some young members. We recently got several young boys that was kind of cowboy reenactors, but they wanted to join the SCV. So we're very glad to have them. So we're doing good. I suppose, like any of us, we could always do better, but we're doing pretty good. And I'm proud of my bunch very much of what they do. And we just going to keep plugging along.
Cool. Yeah, I know you guys talked about at the last camp meeting, your Christmas party.
That's correct. We're going to be having a Christmas party at the American Legion here in Arcadia, Florida, DeSoto County on November the 25th. And that will be at 10. Anybody can come anytime they want to, but we basically got it scheduled for 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to cook the meat and stuff will be furnished, and everybody bring a covered dish and just come out and have a good time. And we'll enjoy that. We had a good crowd last year. We'll probably have a speaker. Somebody will probably speak, whether it's me or somebody else, somebody will. So we'll see how that goes, and we're looking forward to that, and also looking forward to having another big turnout at the Turner Agricultural Center at the rodeo grounds in March for our Pioneer Days as well. So we try to do those two things every year. We did do a big ceremony at the at our monument down here at the cemetery last November, I think it was, and we had a pretty good turnout there, and had a good time, and had a lot of people from around the Confederation that showed up and supported us, which is always a thrill that these people come and take the time out of their busy days that they have when they have to work and make a living themselves, but they come out to honor their Confederate ancestors, which that means a lot to me. So we're doing pretty good. We got a number of things that we can talk about tonight as we just kind of have a chat about things. I've got several things. One thing I'd like to talk about I'd like to, if it's okay, I would like to take one of my Confederate ancestors that I went into the SCV with and just kind of explain real quick who he was. And very proud of him. All mine was out of North Carolina. I had quite a few of them, but here's one here that I went in with the SCV on. His name was Thomas Martin Goulding, which my daddy's side of people married into the Gouldings, and we have Gouldings around here, or Golden, however you want to pronounce it. And I have members that is directly related to Captain Henry, Ashbury Henry, and the cousin that's related to him. So basically, he's pretty close kin to me through marriages and stuff. And we'll talk about him a little bit, but let's first talk about Martin Thomas Goulding. He was in the North Carolina troops, the 10th Regiment, and it was a big artillery unit, but he resided as a farmer prior to the enlistment in the Confederate Army in Carteret County at age 21 on June the 10th, 1861 for the war. He was captured at Fort Macon on April the 26th, 1862, and he was paroled until exchange in August of 1862. He was accidentally wounded on November through December of 1862, present and accounted for through February of 1865. Was born March the 15th, 1841 in Samaritan, Carteret County, North Carolina, and died March the 16th, 1885. He married Julie Frances Gillikin February the 7th, 1867 in Carteret County, North Carolina. And of course, after the war, he went back to farming to make a living for himself. He was a man that did not believe in succession. But when his state of North Carolina seceded from the Union, he followed suit with his country, which was typical for men to do in those days, unlike it is today. But that's just one of my Confederate ancestors, which I'm very proud of, and the one that I went into SEV with.
Cool.
I got another gentleman here that I'd like to mention. He was the great grandfather, I believe, of Evelyn, my deceased wife that died about close to 5 years ago. This ought to be interesting to some people. This gentleman, I got a little picture I'll show you here in a minute, but he was Major Charles Quinn Petty. He was born in September the 20th of 1830 in Gaffney, Cherokee County, South Carolina. Of course, they got on here USA in the census, but I still call it CSA. He died in the 27th of January in 1898 at the age of 67, and he's buried in Gaston County, North Carolina. He's in the Bethel Presbyterian Church Cemetery. Now, Petty was one of the men that was also related to the race car drivers of today, the Petty race car drivers, which the Pettys was also related to Evelyn. But he was a very distinguished man. He was occupation prior to the war. He was listed as a farmer in Gaston County. At the age of 31, he was elected as captain. And then on March the 22nd, 1862, he reported president or accounted for from November of 1862 through December of 1863. He was wounded in the shoulder at Drewry's Bluff, Virginia in May of 1864, returned to duty prior to July the 1st, 1864. Then he was appointed a major on August the 5th, 1864, and transferred to the field and staff of this regiment. Now, he was paroled with at Appomattox with General Lee because he was a major under General Lee. And this was Evelyn's great-great-grandfather. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And that's why she went in officers' corps with that. I got a picture of him. If I can get it up here, and I'll show you a little picture of him. Kind of a distinguished-looking guy. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. But that's a picture of him there.
Oh, cool.
You know. I thought that was kind of interesting. Sean, I've got a bunch of books here that I've had that was Evelyn's books.
Yeah.
And there must be 30, 40, 50 copies of them. And I'll show you the book. It's called South Florida Pioneers.
Ooh.
Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is an interesting literature here. It's got the names of different counties, different cemeteries. It's got a big article in here about Francis Asbury Henry. It's awful lengthy, so we don't have the time to go through all of it, but it's very interesting. But we all know that he was big in the cattle business in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it says here in 1852, I'm just going to spot read some of this here because there's a lot of it here. But in 1852, it said that Francis A. Henry moved from Alafia, which is the Alafia River, to Fort Meade and put a small herd of cattle east of the Peace River. And in so doing, he became among the first to move cattle east of the river. On April the 19th, 1852, he registered his mark and brand with a crop and a split in one ear, the upper square in the other with a brand A. Then in 1853, he made his first visit to Fort Myers, which 3 years before, in February of 1850, had been established on the old breastworks of Fort Harvey, which was originally built November the 4th, 1841, but later abandoned on March the 21st, 1842. In 1908, he recalled, "I first saw Fort Myers in 1853 when its personnel was composed of such men as General Hancock, Colonel Harvey Brown, Lieutenant Hartstuff, Lieutenant Benson, Captain Fowler, for whom Fowler Street is named." He said, "I was wined and dined in Fort Myers as a welcome guest with these noble men. Still, the memory is fresh and vivid. Fort Myers obviously had captivated young Henry." In 1854, he, as a guide to Lieutenant Benson, made his second visit to Fort Myers. And then again in 1908, Henry's recollection, "The object of this trip was to ascertain if it was practical to open an overland road through a route from Fort Meade to Fort Myers." The party consisted of Lieutenant Benson, mounted 3 pack mules, and 6 footmen detailed for the trip from the garrison of Fort Meade, and myself on horseback as a guide, for which I received $1 per day in gold. He made big money those days, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fort Myers in that day was a oasis in the desert. Fort Myers of today may well be proud of her incredible standing as a pretty well-kept little city, but it would be hard to excel herself when she was dressed up in her military garb. And then on February the 18th, 1856, he enlisted as a private in Captain William B. Hooker's independent company of the Florida Mounted Volunteers. And then he was mustered in February the 21st, 1856 at Fort Meade. During the month of June, the company was employed on scout duty, and a small detachment took an active part in the action of the 14th through the 16th on Peace Creek. In pursuit of the Indians, so recorded the War Department. He was mustered out with a company as a private on August the 20th, 1856 at Fort Meade. At the time of enlistment, he was described as being 23 years old. He was actually 22, 6 feet, 1 inch, so he was a pretty tall gentleman with gray eyes, dark hair, dark complexion, and by occupation, a farmer and a stock raiser. On August the 22nd, 1856, he enlisted as a private in Captain Leroy G. Leslie's independent company, Florida Mounted Volunteers, and was mustered in at Fort Meade. The War Department rolls recorded as followers: September the 1856, Alafia, Florida, employed in scouting. January to 1857, this command has been scouting on the western border of the Gulf Coast. He was mustered out with his company as a private on February the 19th, 1857, and the affidavit filed March the 5th, 1903, Francis gave as his tour of service February the 18th, 1856 to May 1858, having served in Hooker's company in 2 terms in Captain Leslie's company. The National Archives has no record of his second enlistment, but the soldiers of Florida list him as a second lieutenant in Captain Leslie's company. W.M. Henry and Jehu J. Blunt on January the 17th, 1903, both gave affidavits that Francis served from 1856 to 1858 in the Seminole Indian Wars. As Seminole would later, as an old man recalled, the other warriors said, "I was too young to go on the warpath and left me here to provide meat for the family." But towards the end of the war, the Indians learned the White Army had abandoned Fort Thompson because the Caloosahatchee had overflowed. It was, as it was built of dead pine posts, light wood with one end buried in the ground, and knowing this fat pine would burn very easily, So they actually burned the thing. The Indians decided to burn it to the ground, and they detailed it to burn it. So they burned it to the ground. And we both have been over to the old Henry house in LaBelle for Christmas parties, old young, which was quite a house that he built or acquired after the war and named LaBelle after his daughters Laura and Belle. So he had a very interesting career, very distinguished man. He was highly thought of by people who knew him very well, and I think he was quite a gentleman.
Yeah, I
And,
always I always enjoy hearing some of the history of Captain Hendrick.
well, he was big in the cattle business, and I don't know if anybody knows where Fort Thompson was, but it was over around in the area of the LaBelle area, on the original river over yonder before they dredged it all out. And then as you leave LaBelle or the Fort Thompson area going on over toward Okeechobee, there was actually in that river before they dug it out and dredged it, there was actually a waterfall in that river.
Huh.
It wasn't a very big one, but it was a waterfall where the river actually dropped down and spilled over a fall before it made its way on into LaBelle and Fort Myers. And a lot of people don't know that there was actually a waterfall in that river, but they made a ditch out of it, and it's listed now as a canal, I think, canal number so-and-so, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the natural river does not exist anymore. It's all been dug out and dredged out for to make boat passage all the way across the state, across to Okeechobee, and then on to the East Coast.
Yep. Now, what you were talking about LaBelle? When was there a fort there in Fort Deneau?
That I don't know how long that Fort Deneau's been there. I really don't know.
Okay.
I know it's been there ever since I can remember. It was kind of right there on the river, the
Yeah.
original river. So I'm sure that there was probably a settlement there at one time. But how long it's been there, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, because I know some of the original. There's a section over there. I haven't found it yet, but I've seen pictures. Parts of the original settlement and some of the original buildings are still there, but I haven't found it yet.
Correct. But actually, he was born in, I think it was in around Thomasville, Georgia.
Yeah.
November the 19th, 1833. About it says here he was about 18 miles from Thomasville, Georgia. He was the son of James Edward and Lydia Carleton, which we know the Carleton name is very well known across Florida as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also the grandson of William and Nancy McFrail.
Yep.
And he was also Scott-Irish descendants.
And descended from my family clan.
Exactly. Exactly. I remember, you do too, when John Bell passed away years ago. We went to the funeral, and if I remember correctly, they were descendants from the Gun Clan of Scotland. And
I think so.
yeah, and I was asked to wear a kilt to present the flag to some of the family members, which I did, and was very honored that they asked me to do that. But they were some of the old pioneer people, and a lot of their descendants are still around today. Henrys, Carletons, Langfords, Albritons, Carletons, all those people are still around DeSoto County today. And a lot of them here has got Confederate ancestors, but you can't seem to get them interested in. They're cattlemen, and they're more interested in their cows and their ranches than they are anything else.
Yeah.
But good people. I know most all of them, and they're very good people. Kind of clannish, like a lot of Scottish people are to begin with.
Yep.
So we have an interesting history in Florida. You know, there's a lot of things went on here that we don't hear about in today's bunch. But you go into the back here, it's got names. I'm going Grangers and uh, Woodson, Underhills, Pools, Kirklands, uh, Gilbert, Cochran, Stewart's. All these people were some of the old time pioneers, Bannons, Hancocks, Hackworth, Grahams, uh, Tanners. You don't hear a whole lot about them, but there was a lot of people here that settled in Florida and started the cattle business in Florida many years ago.
Yep.
Driggers. So kind of interesting. Then I was looking at another book here that I thought was kind of interesting. I can find it here. I run in this book that I had. Yeah, I'll show a picture of that to you up yonder. You can see it. You got it there?
A little bit more to your right. Yeah, right there.
Okay. This is a book that I've had. I found the other day looking. I was looking for that book on Collier County and about the cutting of the big cypress down, but I'll mention that briefly, what I can remember about it.
Yeah.
They cut the big cypress in the Everglades several different times. I think the last time, as much as I can remember in my mind without finding my literature, it was back in the 50s, late 50s, mid 50s, maybe 1960. They still cut some big cypress down yonder. But I remember when I was younger, when I used to hunt down yonder, that I seen the remains of some of those logs that had rotted out, but the shell was still there. And the circumference of those cypress trees was so big that you could have got your swamp buggy on top of the log and drove down it for 50 or 60 feet.
Wow.
That the tree trunk was that big in circumference. And but they cut them all down, used them for lumber. And I do remember that a lot of that lumber was loaded on trains and came up through Palmdale and on up through North Florida. Some of it was put on ships, and a lot of it went to Africa, and they used all that cypress timber that was cut up for the diamond mines in Africa. So a lot of the cypress was shipped out of this country. Yeah. But this book here, the author family of Carteret County, North Carolina, over 70 direct descendants of John Arthur. So I'm a descendant of John Arthur. So all these people in this book here that through marriages and stuff, Gillikins, and there were some Duncans, I think some Stewarts that was either married to the Gouldings or the Gillikins. So basically all of them is kind of related to me one way or the other. Yeah. And half of them I don't even know. Never met most of them because all my daddy's people came out of North Carolina, and then my mama's people came out of Louisiana.
Well, Leon, your cousin's in the chat. Speaking of family.
Right. Exactly.
Garrett's in the chat.
Yeah.
Garrett's watching you.
Do what?
Garrett is watching you.
Oh, Garrett's on there?
Yes, sir.
Well, hi, Garrett. Is Buck on there too?
He might be watching. I haven't seen anything from him. For some of you that just tuned in, I just want to say welcome to the show. I'm your host, Sean, and our guest is Leon Arthur. We're talking about some of the old days in Florida, the pioneers and the history.
Yeah, we're trying to get Garrett's granddaddy, get him in the SCV. We sent the applications to him, so hopefully we'll be getting another member there. But I was also going through some stuff, and I came across this book that I thought was interesting. This is Florida Confederate Monuments and Markers. They're put out by the Florida Division, United Daughters of the Confederacy. I've had that book for a while. Can you see that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought this was kind of interesting. Of course, there's a lot of them in here. We won't go through all of them, but I picked out a couple of them that I thought was kind of interesting. Some of the monuments. But it kind of started out, there's a little quote in here on the first page on the forward. It says, "There is a land of cavaliers and cotton fields called the Old South. Here in this pretty land, gallantry took its last bow. It was the last ever to be seen of knights and their ladies fair, of masters and of slave. Look for it only in books, for it is no more than a dream remembered, a civilization gone with the wind," and that was the prelude to Gone with the Wind. So I'm going to turn a few pages here and show you some pictures of some monuments that I thought was interesting. Here's one here, a monument. Let me see if I can find out where it's at. It's in Marion County, I think. It's a plaque to recognize Dickinson and his men. He was one of Florida's famous Civil War guerrilla leaders. He bivouacked at Camp Baker south of here during the closing weeks of the conflict. Dixon and his men became legendary figures as Company H, 2nd Florida Cavalry. They engaged in skirmishes, raids, battles, scouting expeditions, and forced marches from the time of organization at Flotard's Pond in Marion County in 1862 until the force was mustered out at Waldo on May the 20th, 1865. And it's just a plaque dedicating Dickinson and his men. Then there's another one here, Jefferson Davis's baggage. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
All right. Let me read a little detail on this one here. This is called Jefferson Davis's baggage. On June the 15th, 1865, a detachment of Union soldiers under Captain O.E. Bryant seized personal baggage belonging to Confederate President Jefferson Davis and some of the Confederate government's records in a house near their site. The trunks and papers were hidden first at Senator David Levy Yulee's plantation, Cottonwood, between Archer and Gainesville. The baggage was moved to Waldo and placed in care of the railroad agent. And then on side 2, it's got on there, it's kind of hard to read it, but it was erected by the Florida Board of Parks and Historical Memorials, located at City Park on State Road 24 in Waldo. If anybody knows where Waldo is, it's not too far from Webster, not too awful far from there. And here was another one here in memory. Some of these boys from Jacksonville area would know about this one here, probably. And I don't know if it's still there. I think it was moved. But this is in memory of the Confederate dead, 1861 to 1865. They counted the cost, and in defense of right, they paid a martyr's price. They fell for us, and for them should fall the tears of the nation's grief. This is located on it's like an obelisk with a long Confederate soldier on the top of it. It was located on the corner of University and Main Street next to the courthouse in Gainesville. And it was erected by the Kirby Smith Chapter 202 United Daughters of the Confederacy in 1904. If I remember correctly, I think they moved that to a cemetery out around Micanopy somewhere. I'm not positive about that. If anybody knows anything different than that, correct me on that. But I think that's where it went. And then we're going over to the pages here. They got another stone monument here at the Battle of Ocean Pond. It was fought on February the 29th, 1864, the Battle of Ocean Pond, under the immediate command of General Alfred Holt Colquitt. Actually, he was the hero of Olustee. And this decisive engagement prevented a Sherman-like invasion of Georgia from the south. And this got on there. Here was fought on February 20th, 1864, the Battle of Ocean Pond, under the immediate command of General Alfred Holt Colquitt, hero of Olustee. The decisive information prevented a Sherman-like invasion, like I quoted before, of Georgia from the south. That was erected in April the 20th of 1936 by the Alfred Holt Colquitt chapter, United Daughters of the Confederacy. I didn't know that they had a United Daughters of the Confederacy named after him, but undoubtedly they did. Yeah. I'm going to show you a picture of that. Maybe y'all can see that picture. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to hold it up there and see if you can see that picture.
Yeah, I think that's still around Olustee area. Hey, Commander-in-Chief, how you doing tonight, sir?
I think it is. At least it was the last time I was up in the Olustee area. It was still there.
Keith, that's in the chat. You were just up there visiting family. Was that monument still there?
I didn't hear him.
Nah, Keith hasn't typed in anything. Okay. Yeah. He said it's still there.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Here's another one here, located at the Evergreen Cemetery in Jacksonville. Calvin and them probably know all about this one here. I've never seen it, but
yeah, right
can
there.
you see it there?
Yeah. Okay.
That is a monument in memory of the shipmates of the Confederate torpedo boat David Charleston, South Carolina, October the 5th, 1863. It's got Lieutenant W.T. Glassell, Confederate States Navy, pilot W.J. Cannon, Confederate States Navy, Fireman Jas Sullivan, Confederate States Navy, and the chief engineer was James Hamilton Toombs of the Confederate States Navy. Then they had another one here that was raised in order of J.J. Dickerson. And we all know who he was.
Yep.
And I think this one here is located in Hemming Plaza, corner of Laura and Monroe Streets in Jacksonville. I've never seen that particular one, but as far as I know, it's still there. But this book is full of monuments. It's in Florida, and I got this book years ago. I didn't even know we had this many monuments in the state of Florida.
Yeah, me neither. I'm so used to seeing like a couple here and there.
And then we had another one here, James McKay, born 1808 to 1876. And it says here that on this side, after the devastation hurricane of 1848, McKay, a native of Scotland, built his first permanent home of finished lumber from Mobile, Alabama. He was from Mobile, Alabama. Here with his wife, Matilda. They raised their children. McKay was a dominant factor in the upbuilding of Tampa's in pioneer times. His shipping lines established the first commercial connection with the outside world. In 1848, he built a courthouse. In 1858, he opened his first cattle trade with Cuba, and in 1859 was elected the mayor. During their so-called Yankee Civil War, with his sidewheel, the Scottish chief, he became one of Florida's most active blockade runners. He also formed the Cowboy Cavalry to protect cattle drives headed for the war front. So I thought that was an interesting monument. As far as I know, that one is located at the end of Franklin Street on the south side of Jackson Street on city center grounds in Tampa somewhere.
I
I've never,
think that Grant and Jeffro, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're in the chat. I think that one got moved
it could have. I'm not sure.
because I remember one in Tampa got moved, and another one got donated to the Cattlemen Society.
Well, the one that was donated to the Cattlemen's Society was the Cow Cavalry, I think, that was in Plant City that went to the Cattlemen's Association.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's a street in Tampa named after a Confederate general, too. As far as I know, it's this particular one is still there as far as I know. Maybe somebody knows different than what I do. I don't know.
Talisa, I can do that. Or if you come over for the party in December, you can take a picture of it.
Here's a little picture here of John Jackson Dixon's house that has been restored. It's located on private property. It's a small picture. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Just barely.
Yeah, it's just barely. It's kind of a small picture.
Thanks, Jeffro, for that. That monument you were talking about in Tampa got moved to Brandon Cemetery.
Is that where it went?
Yeah, Jeffro just commented on it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeff. I knew one was moved out of Tampa somewhere that went into the cemetery there at Brandon, but I didn't know which one it was. And of course, we all know about that one there, the Robert E. Lee bus that was in Fort Myers that's no longer there. That one was removed. But they got pictures in here of the monuments at Natural Bridge, the Dixie Highway markers, all kinds of Confederate monuments. The book is just full of them. I didn't know there's that many of them. And here's the one here for Gamble Mansion. It's listed in here. Gamble
cool.
Mansion and Plantation.
Yeah.
That one is still there. At least it was last time I was over there.
Yeah. I was just there as I was heading up to Division Reunion. It was still there.
I'm looking for some more here. They got one at Jupiter Lighthouse as well. They got some in Orange County, a Confederate monument dedicated by Annie Coleman, number 225 UDC. It's located in Lake Eloa Park, Robertson Street, and Elway Drive in Orlando, somewhere in Orlando. I've never seen that one either. Yeah.
I think that one. I remember there was one in Orlando that got either moved or taken down.
Yeah.
But I don't. I'm not 100% sure if that's that one or not.
And here's one at Woodlawn Cemetery. In memory of our Confederate soldiers erected by the United Daughters of the Confederacy in AD 1941, located in Woodlawn Cemetery from I-95, go east on Okeechobee to Dixie Highway, turn right or south and go one block. Woodland Cemetery is on your right. So that's kind of a monument with a Confederate flag on it. Looks nice. Of course, all of them look nice.
Yeah,
then we got one here in
Talisa
Go
just
ahead.
said that one in Woodlawn was taken down and moved.
It was moved.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What about the one in Polk County? Is it still there, ain't it?
Nobody has said anything about the one in Polk County.
I know it was a big issue there for a while, but I've never heard that it was removed. But It was originally located in Munn Park on Main Street, Kentucky and Tennessee Avenue in Lakeland,
Hmm.
which
I
is
know
an
one of the monuments you just talked about in Jacksonville, Camp 1209 is fighting with working with the family trying to get that monument from the city.
okay.
The one in Polk County should still be there. If not them, I'm going to be very disappointed with my hometown, and that's Cameron.
Yeah. Here's one here that they claim it was Florida's first Confederate monument. It says shortly after their so-called Civil War, the women of Walton County organized a ladies' memorial association with Jeanette McKinnon as president to erect a marble monument honoring Walton County's Confederate dead. The association raised $250, and the monument was first erected in 1871 at Valley Church. It was moved to Uchiana, the county seat, and then to Defuniak Springs when it became the county seat. The mark was placed by the Florida Board of Parks and Historical Memorials in 1967, located in front of the Walton County Courthouse in Defuniak Springs. I think I've seen that one time. Yeah.
Oh, Talisa just commented the one in Orlando got moved to Evergreen Cemetery.
Okay. I know there was a lot of them was on the chopping block for a while.
Commander in Chief just commented, I have heard of some of these on their way up here in Tennessee, or on their way to Tennessee, most
Okay.
likely on their way to HQ.
Of course, I'm going to show you a picture of this one here. This one here is very sad the way it turned out to be, but this is a picture of the Lee Monument in Fort Myers dedicated after 50 years of effort to get it done. And I don't know who all these people are on there. You can't tell from the picture, but that was when they had the dedication of it. Can you see
Yep.
that one?
Yep. I got that one on my home page.
Okay. But I didn't know there were so many monuments around Florida.
Yeah. Same here, because I had got a book years ago. I don't know where I put it, but it's based on guys. Bear with me. I know some of you are going to correct it, but the title of the book is Florida Civil War Trails, and
Right.
it talks about all the different monuments and engagements in the state of Florida.
And they got a good article in here. Of course, I'm not going to read it, but it's an article in there about the last days of the gunboat Chattahoochee, which was very interesting. And you'll recognize that face there. This is where they had refurbished the Lee bust.
Mm-hmm.
I think you probably got that picture as well.
Yep, because I was there.
Yeah. You were there?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you a picture of one that is probably not on this literature at all. I'm going to see if I can get it apart here. In fact, I'm going to show you two pictures of it.
Cool.
Here's a picture of my monument. Can you see that one?
Yes, sir.
That one belongs to me. Me and Evelyn had that monument built out of our own pocket. The monument and the ground, the property belongs to me. And here's another picture of it with a flag on it.
Tell 'em where it is.
Can you see that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course, that one is located at the Fort Ogden Cemetery in DeSoto County. Which the people that run the cemetery at that particular time, they sold me the cemetery lots. I bought and paid for them in my name. And I bought one, they gave me one, and then they donated two more spaces next to that so we could put some Confederate headstones on. But this picture does not show the headstones of 4 more Confederates that's in that cemetery in unmarked graves, but they are in that cemetery, so we put them there by the monument to honor them. But that's a nice monument. We enjoy it. This is where we have our get together sometimes on April during History Month of the Confederacy. We together there at this monument and have a ceremony there.
Well, let me put this out there since we're on the subject about monuments. Keep your thoughts and prayers, guys and girls, for Camp 1209 as they're dealing with a new mayor, trying to get that monument Leon was just talking about there in Jacksonville back to the family.
Okay. So anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I'm going through my pictures right now. Well, Leon, you just got a compliment from our commander in chief. Wow, it's awesome that you have your own monument.
Well, thank you, Calvin. I appreciate that.
No, Jason Boshier is our commander in chief.
Oh, Jason. It's Jason.
Yeah.
I know Jason. I've never seen him but just I think 1 or 2 times in my life, but I know him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool guy, fun to be around.
Yep, he's a good man. He's a Southerner, so he's got to be a good man. We're proud of him. We're proud that these gentlemen step up to the plate and do what they do.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that picture of that one of your monument. I know I took it. I just don't remember when.
I think we put this, we built this, me and Evelyn built this, I think in 2010, 2012, 2014, somewhere's in there. And
Right.
and it's held up pretty good. We recently, I think you came up, possibly. We refurbished it, repainted it here, I don't know, a couple of years ago.
Well,
Klaus came. I know Klaus came up.
yeah.
But it still looks good. We copied it kind of after the one that used to be in Plant City in honor of the Cal Cavalry. And I had the sign made in Tampa. The plaque on the top was the original one was, I think, was bronze. This one here is made out of concrete, painted to make it look like bronze. And of course, the old Iron Cross there was was one of the big ones, one of the old, the bigger than the ones you see now. Somebody gave that to me years ago, and the stem had been broke off of it. There was no names inscribed on it or nothing. On the ones I used to do, I used to inscribe the cemetery name on them. But this one here had nothing on it. I spent, I don't know, about 3 years trying to figure out where it could come from, where we could put it back, where it come from, whether it was broke off or stole. I have no idea. You know, I don't know. But anyhow, to make a long story short, I took the thing, couldn't find out where it come from, so I had a stem welded back onto it, and we put it down there by the monument down yonder. And so it looks good there. It's got a home there anyhow.
Yeah.
And in that cemetery, I think there's about 19, maybe 20, 21 Confederate veterans just buried in that cemetery. Of course, with y'all's namesake as well, Lieutenant Francis Calvin Morgan Bogus is buried there in that cemetery as well.
Is that his next to him? Is that his wife or sister that was scalped?
I believe it was his sister.
Okay.
I'd have to go read it again, but I think it was his sister or his half sister or something like that. She was
Right.
actually scalped by Indians, and I think she's one of the oldest people buried in that cemetery, and she lived.
Damn. They
From what
didn't
I
do a
understand, she did survive it.
good, yeah, they must not did a good job with the scalping then.
Well, sometimes maybe they didn't want to kill them; they just want to make them suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
You never know. So, what's going on your way?
Not much. If anybody's down in Naples this weekend, we have our camp meeting. That will be at Cracklin Jack's about 11. It's more of a social event. Just get everybody up to date with what's going on with division and what happened at the division reunion and at the national reunion.
Right.
And gear up for this upcoming fall with different projects and stuff of that nature. Other than that, it's the python hunt just ended. I think somebody got a 26-foot python just last week, something like that. And we have a new thing that just hit Collier County, the green anaconda.
Oh, yeah.
Supposed to be the biggest snake in the world. Supposed to get up to it's supposed to grow. The growth, when it's fully grown, it's supposed to be the biggest constrictor in the world or in North America, something like that. I was reading an article on it the other night.
They are pretty much noted to be the biggest snake in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. But there was one when I was going down in the Everglades years ago, which I still own a piece of property down yonder, but I don't go down there much anymore. That somebody run over and killed one on 41 in between Cornstown and Royal Palm Hammock.
I believe it.
It was a green anaconda, but it was not a very big one. It was only about 7, 8 feet long, 9 feet, something like that.
That's still pretty big.
Yeah, so they're down there. The whole country down there has been infiltrated with those snakes that don't belong in this country to begin with.
Exactly. And a lot of them, it's due to people not only on our coast, but also on the East Coast, had them as pets and didn't realize what they were dealing with till they get a certain size. They released them into the glades. Combination of that and Hurricane Andrew, because I remember going to Key Largo, visit my great grandmother down 41 around Homestead area. You had a lot of snake farms. And where did all those snakes happen to go after Andrew? Right in the glades.
Oh, absolutely. They even had some king cobras that escaped, but they've never recovered them.
Mm-hmm.
So we have no idea what happened to them. And those pythons, they concerned if they have bred with the rock python.
Yes.
They think come from Africa, which is a very aggressive snake.
Yep.
And they was awful concerned if they have interbred with those that might create some type of super snake.
Yep.
But they have decimated a lot of natural wildlife in the Everglades.
Yep. Yeah, because
DeLynn, she don't like snakes.
You tell her she moved to the wrong neighborhood?
Snakes or bugs? I said, this place is full of snakes and bugs. I came home the other day and got out of the truck, and there was a black snake out there eating a frog.
Yep.
And I come got her. I said, well, you gonna need to take a picture of this there black snake out there eating that frog out there.
Yep.
But
So
snake
Lisa,
seen her
what is
coming.
a tengu?
Snake seen her coming and run underneath the fence. I tell her all the time that snake ain't gonna bother you because you're too big to eat. You know, he's not gonna bother you.
Oh, I see what you're talking about now, Talisa. Yeah, they're part of the what do you call it, family with the iguanas.
One of them green iguanas.
Well, it's called the tengu. It's uh, well, it's on the order. Just a big reptile that eats stuff. Oh boy, man! What? See, now we're talking about eats rabbits and squirrels. Well, we need that down in the Glades because the last time I was down there was rabbits all over the place.
Yeah, they have a lot of those what we call swamp rabbits down yonder.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. You know,
Yeah.
especially here in Southwest Florida because I don't see much hawks and eagles and ospreys anymore.
Well, they're around here.
Yeah.
Oh, we see them here all the time.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid seeing them all over the place and pelicans all over the place. I haven't seen a pelican over here in say 10 years.
Well, we had to sacrifice all of our land for all the foreigners.
Yeah, Cameron the jackalope. Well, we've been going at this for an hour. I just want to wish Davey with the Skunk Ape headquarters down there in Ochopee on US 41. Check it out when you get a chance. Wish him a happy birthday. Don't know if he's ever watched the show or not, but you never know who's going to watch this show.
Exactly. You know, I try to tell everybody, you know, to get on it, watch it, you know, and support you. You know, we need to support one another. You know,
And
the
that's
best we
what
can.
Yep, that's what this show's about. It's to support all the camps, and brigades and regions in the state of Florida, so we all know what we're all doing,
Exactly.
and work together to help each other out.
Exactly.
Like our commander in chief says, I know I'm going to screw it up, Linda. If not us, who? If not, I already screwed it up. Sorry, Commander.
Thing about it is, if you go out there and try to do anything, you're gonna make mistakes. I've made my share of it.
See, that's the thing about going live here.
A man that never makes no mistakes is a man that don't do nothing.
Exactly. Thanks, David, on that. Please check out exactly, Linda. If not us, who? If not now, when? A quote from our commander in chief that's in the chat. We've been going at this for shit. Good conversation tonight. Please check out Friday night show. We'll be talking about police research. The Confederates in East Tennessee. Friday Night Live. Yeah. Please check out that show. Check out Michael Hardy's show on Sunday nights. SCV Chat. Monday nights, look around the Confederation on Thursday nights. Hell, you never know. I might also be on SCV chat helping out Moose and GCB. You might see me this Thursday. So, Leon, my dear friend, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
It was an
And
honor.
thank you to everybody in the chat. Guys, not only we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Feel free to share the episode with your camp members.
Well, it was an honor to be here to discuss this stuff. We need to talk about it. That's what keeps it alive. When we quit honoring our Confederate dead and realize what they did for us, what little bit we do is very little compared to what they did for us.
Yes, sir.
They fought and bled and died to try to preserve our country. Even though it didn't happen, you have to give them the greatest respect in the world, because as far as I'm concerned, they was one of the best. Most of them was Scots and Scot-Irish and Welsh to begin with. They were some of the best fighting warriors that's ever been in this country.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you all for joining the show tonight. Please share this episode and continue to grow this chat. So if you have any camp, brigade, or region news, feel free to email me. That way I can get it out there as soon as I can to support every one of you. Same with our lovely ladies, with the OCR. We just had Annette Lindsay, the president of our OCR chapter here in division, whatever you want to call it, the OCR chapter here in Florida. She was on the last episode, so feel free to check that out so you have an idea what the Florida OCR is up to. With that being said, thank you all. And I gotta add more videos, so let's end the show with this.
My dad told me he always had a kinship to the battle flag. Always growing up, he knew there was something there, but he couldn't put it together. I called my 97-year-old grandmother, and I asked her, do we have any soldiers in the family? I gave her 3 descriptions. Verde, which means green for modern-day soldier. Blue, azul, or gris, means gray. And she said, mijo, which means my son in Spanish, is gris. It was gray. My great-great-grandfather was named Andres Torres Rodriguez. He was born in Mexico. He was a laborer. And he was in 8th Texas Infantry, and his unit later on got incorporated to the Texas 33rd Cavalry under Santos Benavides, who was the highest Mexican-American Confederate officer. He was a colonel. There was over 13,000 Hispanic soldiers throughout the Confederate States, but out of those 13,000 were 2,500 Tejanos. And it's 2 words combined. Texas in Spanish is Tejas. Mexican in Spanish, Mexicano. You combine both words, Tejano. They contributed a lot for Southern independence. I think that they deserve respect, honor, and dignity under the Confederate flag that they fought for. There was people of color, Mexican people, and other Hispanics, and other people of color that fought in this war. Everyone's reason was different, but primarily they fought in this war for their independence and to protect their homeland. I joined the SCV because I'm extremely proud of my Confederate heritage. I have Confederate DNA. I just want to ensure that the present generation and future generations know and never forget the contributions of Hispanics in the War of Northern Aggression. I am Richard Luna Garcia, the great-great-grandson of Private Andres Torres Rodriguez, a Tejano Confederate soldier.
Thank you all for joining the show tonight. Stay southern, stay cool, and hydrated. Hope to see you all soon. Have a good night.
Good night.